Okay, let's go in. And yeah, we'll just chat.
Alright, sure.
So I just went for that. Back to the past. So what's your name and how would you describe yourself?
I'm Paul Campbell. How do you mean describe yourself?
Like as an act, would you describe yourself as an improviser, comic actor, etc.?
I don't really know, right? People say that I'm like a character actor, but I don't really think I am. Like, because it's all based on me. And so it's like I guess to a certain extent it's like a persona of like a loser, but I kind of am a loser, so that is me, and I think everybody to a certain extent has a persona. Because I think it would surely it'd be too confusing to the audience mostly if everyone's shown every single part of their character, and it would just be boring, because there must be, surely there's parts of most people, like comedians, that are really fucking boring, so why would you show all sides? Surely it's the side that most interests you, and so that's what I try, the side that interests me about myself, I try to incorporate. But I don't necessarily, so maybe it is a character, but it's not really a character, because maybe I need to make it more of a character, but I identify it as me, really. So.
And how important do you think it is for a comic performer to have a persona?
I think, very really. I mean, the point. I think it's important to have a point of view, just in terms of being like interested in the audience and having something to say, because surely one of the biggest problems is like being unique. You want to be like unique, and so surely you want to engage with who you are, and so maybe that would be like would be the persona engaging as. I would say, it sounds a bit twatty saying that, but like I don't know. That's what I would say though. That it's about trying to engage, trying to include as much uniqueness from yourself as you can. So that really is like a persona, I guess, like part of your personality. So I would say it would be important. Yeah.
And do you think there is a crossover between, when I say either take that as yourself as an individual or as a collective, between your on-stage persona and your off-stage persona? Do you think there's a crossover?
What do you mean?
So your on-stage persona and your off-stage persona. Do you think that there is a crossover?
Yeah, I would say. Well, yes, because like my girlfriend always said it was a character, right? But now she's spent more time with me, she knows it's not, because she can see that I'm a genuine loser, and that there's aspects of my trying to answer the question more accurately. Where I'm pretty much. There's times when I'm saying when I'm pretty much acting as if I would be in character, but I'm not, I'm just being me. But I'm saying, like, the things I say sound as if they're in character, but they're not at all.
Do you think that that comics as a whole, there is a connection between stand-up comedy and anxiety or confidence?
You could get fucking. I'll tell you what you.
What you think? Well, yeah, in different ways though. Like, because I try to. That's interesting, because obviously people like stand-up say like they suffer with anxiety and low confidence, and then no one understands how they've got the confidence to stand up in front of people. But like, because it feels like, for me though, it feels like I feel more relaxed and confident performing than like just having normal one-to-one conversations. And so I think maybe with stand-ups, a lot of the time it's people who find it easier to express themselves performing as opposed to being normal, maybe.
So do you think that there is an element of using stand-up comedy cathartically? We don't smoke, mate.
I don't, I'm sorry.
So do you think that stand-up comedy can be used cathartically for perhaps issues with confidence or...
Yes, well that's what I try to do though. I try to talk, and this is where, like, I just think I want to get better with my own stand-up in that I want to use actual issues of talk. For me, the way it was cathartic is to talk about the issues of being like anxious and like the weird socially repressed thoughts that I have and trying to make them funny. And I just think like I'm trying to get better and better at reflecting them more truthfully in my stand-up, because that's really cathartic. Like, because I do actually feel better. Like if there's something like bothering me or I'm feeling a certain way about myself, like if I can encompass that in a joke, and it's especially if it's a good joke, I really do feel better for it.
And what is it that you want to explore cathartically through expressing your emotions, your opinions, your anxieties through comedy, as opposed to say poetry or spoken word?
Because I think, well, this sounds so chatty, right? But you're asking me something that's been. I feel like I don't do enough stand-up. I've not done it long enough to be on it, like to talk like this, like as if I'm. But anyway, I'll just be on it. But I think though that to me, like comedy feels like it is poetry though. It is, but because it's like. The reason why it's poetry because it's everything's exaggerated. It's like real life exaggerated, and it's kind of. I think it makes it. I don't know. I think it can. It's really good at taking like an aspect of human behaviour or human emotion and like kind of just like putting a microscope to it. Is just I love the way that it highlights it through exaggeration. So I think that it kind of is like poetry, because I used to write poetry and I kind of feel like comedy is just a better way of expressing, and it's more relatable surely though, because people, I don't know, like some poetry is great.
And why do you think that comedy is better? You use the phrase better.
It's just better because I just think as a medium you can, it's easier because the whole point of it is to like a lot of the time it is like exaggerating things, isn't it? And so you could take a small, I mean this is kind of like a basic idea I guess, but like just taking a small observation of something and just blow it up, and then people see that and they recognise like an observation about something. And I feel like it's so much harder to do that in poetry, or I've never come across it being able to do it to that extent.
So blowing something up out of proportion is also a connection with like anxiety and like low self-esteem. So do you think that that to put yourself in that mindset is like a good thing, or do you think that could be a dangerous thing?
What danger to be performing comedy
and opening your mind up to being able to blow things out of proportion?
I mean, yeah, potentially though, yeah. I think it can be. Like if you write a lot, I don't know, yeah, but then because sometimes like if I've been writing stuff about like being like doubting myself and things like having low self-esteem, then it kind of puts me in the mindset of having low self-esteem, because it's like I've reminded myself of all the times I've had low self-esteem. But then in a way it's almost like owning it, innit? And it's empowering if you can do that. And also another thing that I kind of have always thought, and like I think comedy's better than poetry for things like it, like talking about anxiety, because surely like laughter, like I know like this loads of people have researched it, but like surely laughter is like a release of it, kind of is a release of emotion around whatever issue it is.
Okay. And what is it that makes you want to be a comedy performer? What is it that makes you want to go in front of a bunch of people that you don't know and make them laugh?
No, like I really like the writing, because I've done like writing for years and script writing, and I don't really know that, to be honest.
And do you get the same amount of empowerment and fulfillment from the writing aspect as you do from the actual performative aspect?
Well, no, to be honest, like the more I initially know, but then the more I do it, and like when especially if it's a run where things have been going really well, then it is really addictive. like just performing it is just addictive. The buzz of going out there and like having everyone laughing, that is like really addictive.
And in what way does that addiction, in inverted commas, obviously it's quite loose, in what way does that manifest itself, do you think?
That like if I'm not, like if I've done like let's say 3 gigs in 4 days or something and they've all gone really well, like and the next night I'm at home, like I'm like, I really want to perform. Like it's like a craving almost, thinking you know, it's kind of like a come down going at home and just doing normal things because you kind of want to be out.
And do you think that that is a good thing or an unhealthy thing for anxieties and esteem?
I don't know, because there's different ways of looking at it. I mean, the problem is that I've not done stand-up enough, so I would probably have a clear answer if I'd have done it more, because I've only been doing it just kind of over a year, so if I'd have done it maybe for 3 or 4 years, or obviously like 10 or whatever, yes, I'd be able to tell you more clearly, but I don't know, actually. Like, it's probably not a good thing if you're not able to perform or not. And also, I don't really know. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I can see arguments for both sides, because it could be a bad thing if you're then like relying on performing all the time, especially like if you're not been successful or anything and you're just performing and you're letting other parts of your life slip. That's not healthy. But surely the idea of being able to express yourself and getting the satisfaction of other people enjoying you, and that's good for self-esteem, obviously.
This will probably be my final question. So what is it that you want to get out of comedy?
But it's a weird thing, like I want to, in a kind of practical sense, because I love script writing, so I kind of want to sort of do, I don't know, I want to progress enough in comedy so I can get my scripts, like, so it'd be easier to get the scripts that I like to write, like more kind of, get them more of a chance of being made. And I think it's also good being in the comedy world, because it's easier to make, like, to get them produced, because you know people who are like, even just like little things on YouTube, because like obviously I'm coming into more contact with people who film things and like people who can act and things like that. But I suppose my goal would be it's mainly to do well with my scripts, but also to get out of it. Like I don't fully know what this is, but I like this satisfaction of creating something that I feel. Hopefully I'm just getting better so I can achieve this more, just creating something that I really like, though, that I think represents me, and that is hopefully, that's good, if you know what I mean. Because I don't think that doesn't really make sense, but yeah, I know what I mean in my brain. But basically just create something that I feel like really represents me, like as a comedian, and that is good. And so, but because I don't, realistically, this sounds like a petty thing to say, but I don't know, I kind of want to be successful at comedy, but like, as me, I don't really kind of want to, I want to try and be as me as possible in the comedy, if that makes sense. That's about it.